What's going on, guys? Briar Rabbit here. Today we're going to be talking about this guy. This is the Xbox Elite Wireless Controller Series 2. And yes, I had to read that because it's such a long name for a controller. This thing retails for about 180 bucks. I did buy this one for myself around Christmas time, so I've been using it for about 6 months now. And I figured it would be a good time to share my thoughts and a kind of review about this. So let's start off by what comes in the box. So the first thing is you do get a charging cable. It's 10-foot long braided USB-C cable. It's a fairly nice cable. It's nice that they include it. One of the cool features is it also comes with this travel case that you can plug the cable into the back here. And then there's a stand on the bottom of the case, and you can charge your controller while it's sitting in the case, which is really nice. So you can kind of use it as a dust cover when you're not traveling, just a nice place to store it and keep all your accessories together. It's it's not a big deal, but it's a nice feature of the whole thing. The controller itself is really heavy. So this thing's got a metal frame to it and a lot of metal parts as well as magnets in it. So if you're used to a regular plastic controller, you're going to notice right away, this thing is a hefty boy. It is large and in charge. While playing with it, I didn't notice the weight that much, but it's significantly heavier than a regular controller. But it also feels higher quality and more sturdy. It really does. It doesn't creak at all when you twist it or push the buttons. It just feels sturdy and high quality. Also in the box, you get an assortment of different thumbsticks. You get the 2 regular size ones, exactly what you would be used to on a standard Xbox One controller, as well as 4 spares. There's kind of this longer one, which is great for shooting games for more accuracy. There's a domed one, and there's 2 shorter. These are more like Xbox 360 concave ones. To me, I don't think there's enough variety here. For $180, I'd like at least 2 more of these. I don't love the standard Xbox sticks, but they're my favorite in this box. Which is a little unfortunate. I'd usually like a domed one a little bit better, but this is made out of very hard plastic, and I found that my thumb slid on it quite a bit, so I don't really love it. Also, these are very hard and slick as well. There's no texture at all on them, so I don't find them useful at all. They're very slippery, and that just doesn't suit my style of play very well. So I do stick with the kind of conventional ones, and when I'm playing a shooter like Destiny, I'll just take the short one off the right-hand side, put the long one on, and I'm good to go. That's actually really nice, is that how fast that is to just pull on and pull off. That's just held on by magnets. When it's in place, you'd never know it's so easy to remove because it's on there solidly. It doesn't turn or twist. And it just feels good. It's an amazing little solution. It's a lot different than what Scuff does, where you actually have to take the top cover off of the whole thing, the faceplate off of the thing, and then you can get at them. Or they have these little rings that you can remove kind of with this little tool, pull that out, and then pull off the whole thumbstick. This is a much more elegant solution. It's much easier to do on the fly, and it makes you want to do it often. It's really nice. When I'm playing shooting games like Destiny or Call of Duty, I do like that long stick. When I'm playing anything else, basically, I just leave the short one on there. There's also a removable D-pad. It kind of comes with this weird one that's like circular in shape and concave. You can put a more standard shaped D-pad on there. I played quite a bit of Street Fighter V with this controller over the last week or so, and I don't really love this D-pad. It's a little hard to press. It feels firmer than a D-pad should, in my opinion. It's a little small. It doesn't have a lot of travel to it. So I did, with Street Fighter, definitely prefer the circular one, even though I didn't feel as accurate with this one because I couldn't quite feel the different directions as much as I could with the standard shaped one. But it feels smoother to use, but less accurate. So it's kind of a trade-off. I did end up preferring this one, but I'd missed some dragon punches and fireballs along the way. it's a trade-off. I don't love the D-pad on this basically either way. I'd much rather use something, with a more standard D-pad. Moving on, let's take a look at the back of the controller. One of the highlights of this controller is, of course, the back paddles. Back paddles, again, held on by magnets. They're very easy to remove. So if I am playing something like Street Fighter, as I say, they're easy to remove. I can't get it out. Like if I'm playing something like Street Fighter, I don't want them in there because I don't want button presses that I don't mean. And if I'm squeezing the controller, I'm getting into the game. It's nice to be able to just take them out real easy. Or if you just want one per side, or if whatever configuration you want, it's very easy to put them in there and take them out. They're also in an excellent location. It's very comfortable to kind of squeeze your fingers on them. I prefer them to basically any other paddle I've used. They're just in the right spot. They're comfortable. They're very responsive. You can feel a little bit of a click when you use them, but they're not real loud. I really like them. Next, let's take a look at the trigger stop. So shooter fans are going to really like trigger stops because what they do is they limit the amount of travel on your trigger. And that allows you to shoot a little bit faster. I really like these. You don't have to use a screw. You don't have to take the controller apart to use them. Again, it's a really elegant solution, and I found it to be, really useful. Again, you can just turn it on, turn it off. Even in something like Destiny where, the same button for firing your gun is to use a sparrow. It's like you can just kind of turn it on and turn it off as you need to on the fly, and that's kind of nice. I did like also they have 3 settings. They have the full travel, kind of a medium travel, and then a really short travel. I found that the medium travel was my favorite for shooting games. It just felt satisfying to hit. The short one was just a little too short for me. Moving back to the front of the controller, you do have this kind of selector. You can program the controller and program the back buttons here, the paddles there, just by using the buttons on the controller. But there's also software on the Xbox and on the PC that you can use to set it up as well. I set it up on the PC. It was really easy to do and to customize it exactly how I wanted. I gotta say, this is a really expensive controller, and in a day and age where people are selling a really nice controller, like here's the M30 from 8-Bit Do. This is a $35 controller. Of course, it's not nearly as nice as this, but it's hard to justify a $180 controller these days. Standard controllers for the PS4, the Xbox, and the Switch are anywhere from $50 to $70 as it is. So $180 for a controller, it's out there, man. It's a lot of money to be spending on a controller. But what you do get with this is what feels like a really high quality controller. The rubber grips are nice, although a little more slippery than I would like. I really like the Scuff Tactical grips. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's a really nice feeling in the hand, and it really does allow you to grip the controller less hard because it's just it's gripping you back. This is rubber, but it doesn't really feel like there's any grip there. It feels almost slippery to the touch, which I don't think is really optimal for rubber. There's also kind of like a soft touch coating all over the controller, all over the plastic front of it, which I find gets really fingerprinty really fast, and I don't find that that's true with other controllers for me. It's really just this one. So there's something about this material that just kind of picks up grime a little faster than other materials that I've used. The buttons all feel great. Another really cool feature about this thing is that these sticks, the tension is actually adjustable. So you use this little tool here, and you can just twist this middle portion side to side, and you can either make it harder or easier to actually move the stick, which is nice. One of the problems I had with the original Xbox One controller was the stick tension was too loose, and I found it hard to be accurately aiming with it. After a while, I did get used to it, but I always preferred the PS4 controller because of the sticks on the original Xbox One controller. But this fixes that issue for me. There's been a number of ergonomic changes over the years to the Xbox One controller, and this one takes into all of those on account. This thing does work with a ton of devices. I've used it on my Mister, I've used it on my PC, I've used it on my Xbox One, and this will be compatible with the Xbox Series X that's coming out later this year, but it doesn't have, I think it's a media share button or something like that. There is a button that's going to be new on the Xbox Series X controller that's going to be, somewhat, I don't want to say useless, but, not necessary. So that's nice. If you buy this now, you know that it's going to be compatible with the next console. But if you're a PC gamer, I don't think there's a better controller out there right now. But you do have to pay for it. If you're deciding between something like this and like a Scuff, I don't think you can go wrong either way. This thing definitely feels higher quality, but there's some really nice features about this Scuff as well. The Scuff Prestige, I think is the Scuff Prestige is the Xbox One. I think so. That's a really nice controller as well. I really don't think you can go wrong with either one of these. I haven't heard anybody complaining about reliability or build quality. There were some issues with the original Series Elite wireless controller, Series 1, I guess you would call it. Hopefully this one holds up better. I have been playing quite a bit with it over the last 6 months, and I haven't had any issues with it yet. I will say the wireless on it works great on my Xbox and not great on my PC. Anecdotal, nothing really works that great wireless in my office, though, because there's a lot of RF interference. So that could just be a me thing. And I wouldn't ding the controller for it unless I tested it on a lot of other equipment, which I have not. I have used it wirelessly with my Xbox. It has worked flawlessly, but on my PC, I find the connection goes in and out frequently. So I use it wired only on my PC. So that's it, guys. If you guys got any questions about this controller, I'd love to hear them in the comment section. I'll answer them there. I do really like the controller. $180 is a lot to spend, obviously. And money's tight. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. So, but if you're gaming a ton and you're hardcore, especially into shooters, I will say that shooters are the thing that take advantage of this controller the most, because you can swap out the thumbsticks so easily, because of the trigger stops, because of the paddles. You can really set this up to be a great shooter controller, be able to reload and jump using the paddles on the back while keeping your thumbs on the control sticks. Also being able to fire real quick because of the trigger stops. For shooters, this thing is great. If you're mainly into fighting games, spend that money on a fighting stick or like a 6-button controller, like the 8-bit do here. When I'm playing Street Fighter, I'd much rather use this than this, even though this was $35. It's just a better controller for a fighting game. Played a lot of Assassin's Creed lately, and it performed flawlessly in Assassin's Creed. However, I didn't find that I was using the paddles that much or the trigger stops, or swapping it out. So a regular controller for Assassin's Creed would have worked fine. But playing Destiny or another shooter, I definitely love being able to put the long thumbstick on there to feel more accurate while aiming, and using the paddles so I can jump and fire and aim all at the same time. It's really a good setup for shooters. Other games, it's hard to justify. It's really hard to justify. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. And let me know if you got any questions down in the comments below. Thanks. Bye.